What's up, everybody? Look, I wanted to have a quick conversation with my Jasmy community. Of course, you guys know we've been talking about Jasmy for quite a while here on the channel, one that we're really bullish on, that we think has a lot of potential. And I wanted to talk to you all about the fact that we now have less than 24 hours until something extremely important does happen. Now, if you've watched my other videos today, you know what I'm going to talk about. But if you haven't, today we're going to be talking about the fact that the Bitcoin halving is now less than 24 hours away, and it's extremely important for Jasmy. Now, you may say two things, Tyler. Why are you half light, half dark, half light, half dark? We're actually still out here in Dubai for Token 2049. So, of course, shout out to Margex for making that happen. But I'll talk about them a little bit more in a second here. And the second thing that you may ask is, what does the Bitcoin having to do with Jasmy, and why is it so important? Okay, let me explain to you why it's important. Well, oftentimes people make the mistake that they think the Bitcoin halving is just about Bitcoin. Okay, and although that is kind of true, it's not very true. The reason it's not very true is because what you need to understand is that the general liquidity that is flowing throughout crypto is oftentimes brought by Bitcoin. What does that mean? It means that someone hears about Bitcoin, a whale learns about Bitcoin, they invest into it through an ETF, whatever it may be. And that, of course, starts the liquidity cycle. That liquidity enters into Bitcoin. And then what? Of course, Bitcoin starts to make some gains, but then maybe it slows down a little bit and they start to think, okay, I want to make some more money. Where can I go? Then they pull some of their gains from Bitcoin. Then they go to the little bit more risky one like Ethereum. Then a little bit more risky like Solana. Then a little bit more risky like some of your lower cap altcoins. And that liquidity cycle continues to trickle up until they either remove themselves from crypto or, of course, they do lose money or whatever it may be. Right? But that's the liquidity cycle. And oftentimes what you'll see, especially for something like Jasmy, is that whenever you see liquidity flow into something like Bitcoin, it will eventually work its way down to Jasmy. They will start to go down the list of altcoins, take more risks and more gambles and more risks and more gambles. And somewhere around half the way there, they're going to run into something like Jasmy. Now, what that means, like in a very specific or kind of like straight on point of perspective, is that as liquidity does enter into Bitcoin and as Bitcoin does go up, eventually we're going to see that money flow from Bitcoin to Jasmy. And now, obviously, that's a good thing. That's huge. Why is that huge? Because the likelihood is that Jasmy will start to catch some momentum, maybe not immediately, maybe not immediately. It's not going to be immediately, and maybe not today, and maybe not tomorrow. It might not even be next week. But eventually, we will see that liquidity reach Jasmy because Jasmy has got itself to a point of credibility in the sense that investors will buy it even in the good or the bad times. And we've seen that throughout the course of this year. And I think that's so important because it sets itself up to capitalize on that liquidity and see its price grow as time does go on. And so because of that, in my opinion, now is the time. Now we only have 24 hours until that liquidity cycle begins, and we need to start taking action. Now, there's a couple ways you can take action. And the first thing, of course, is just to maybe accumulate or buy a little bit of Jasmy. Pick some up, add it to your bag. Dollar cost average in. Its price isn't all the way at its all-time high right now. It still does have a lot of room to grow. It is in a little bit of a macro pullback. So maybe accumulating a little Jasmy isn't a bad idea. Now, you can also trade some Jasmy if you want. Speaking of Margex, I have a link to them down in the description below. Don't forget, we got Jasmy listed not too long ago, a couple months ago. And now if you do trade some Jasmy over on Margex, you don't need a KYC, meaning you don't need to give them any of your personal info. You also don't need a VPN. You can just deposit funds and start trading. And that's, of course, amazing because it just means you can get straight to it, start earning up to $30,000 in bonuses once you do start trading. Absolutely phenomenal. So again, do go check them down below. Or overall, you can just continue your strategy. Or maybe, if you don't want to start buying some Jasmy now, just continue your strategy. Whenever we do see these dips going forward, maybe buy a little bit more. Maybe when we see these days of consolidations, maybe just buy a little bit in preparation for when we do see that liquidity inevitably and eventually reach Jasmy, as I think it will. Now, of course, I may be wrong, and Jasmy may not end up going anywhere, but I have pretty strong conviction that I'm right. And of course, I'm willing to make this video and kind of make a bet that I am right. And so obviously we'll see. I do currently have a 5-figure Jasmy position. And so I hope I am right, but of course, only time will tell. And I hope you guys want to join the journey with me as we do see how it plays out. And so if you do, make sure that you do subscribe to the channel when you are down in the description. And of course, maybe you can drop a quick like on the video so more people see it if you did enjoy it. But overall, that's about it for today's update. Just wanted to have a quick convo. So of course, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.